Welcome to today's deep dive. We're really thrilled you're joining us because today's mission is unpacking a totally genius, labor-saving approach to gardening. Okay, let's unpack this. We're looking at sources detailing the work of Kesser and Steen.
Right, they're two students from a nature and innovation class,
Yeah, and they're setting up a totally self-sufficient organic kitchen garden at Steen's place.
which basically means they're teenagers trying to figure out how to avoid unnecessary manual labor
Exactly.
while still, technically doing their schoolwork.
It's the classic student motivation. So their big plan is to completely bypass the traditional backbreaking garden digging. They gathered this massive stash of seeds from a local gardener they call Aunt Green.
And they're starting those seeds indoors on Oma's windowsill.
Right, using recycled cardboard, paper towel rolls to avoid buying plastic pots. But highly specifically, they're only using the paper towel rolls Steen's mom hoarded from her office.
What's fascinating here is that this cardboard roll technique is the perfect foundation for a no-dig system. I mean, you are probably familiar with composting basics, so we can skip the intro stuff.
Yeah, let's get right to the soil microbiology.
Exactly. By layering compost directly on top of the soil rather than tilling it, Kesser and Steen are actively preserving the existing mycorrhizal networks beneath the surface.
Because, turning the earth with a shovel would just sever all those fungal highways, right?
Precisely. Leaving those underground networks undisturbed allows the soil's delicate microlife to function optimally. It creates this naturally aerated structure that retains moisture beautifully,
And naturally suppresses weeds.
without any need for constant tilling, yeah.
Yeah.
They're building a self-regulating ecosystem before the seeds even hit the dirt.
What really caught my eye next is the hilarious drama once it's actually time to plant. They're preparing their onions, or preparing the no-dig garden, so to speak.
So to speak. Very nice.
Thank you. So traditionally, you'd set small onions in neat, perfectly spaced rows directly in the ground. But Kessler wants to sow the seeds in clumps, which he calls plugs.
And Steen is practically hyperventilating over this.
Oh, totally freaking out. He's worried this chaotic, messy approach is going to drive his mom crazy and ruin the aesthetic of her garden.
It's a completely understandable concern when you're dealing with family property. But if we connect this to the bigger picture, Kesser's logic challenges a massive flaw in traditional home agriculture.
Wait, doesn't crowding multiple onion seeds into a single plug just stunt their growth? I always assumed strict spacing was critical.
In commercial farming, yes, because uniformity is the goal. But in a home kitchen garden, forcing them to compete in these plugs is actually the objective.
Oh, because you rarely need to harvest identical massive onions for an entire town all at once?
Right. By growing them in crowded plugs, they compete for space, which naturally gives you a cluster of varying sizes.
Ah, so instead of a uniform crop, you get this custom selection right in the ground.
Exactly. Say you are making a quick herring sandwich for lunch.
You just pull one small onion from the cluster.
You avoid wasting a massive bulb when you really only need a few thin slices.
And there's a brilliant mechanical advantage to this plug method, too. Because the bulbs expand in a tight cluster, they physically push themselves up out of the soil as they grow.
They essentially self-harvest.
Right, no need to haul out a heavy pitchfork and risk ruining your back or damaging the bulbs. You just gently pluck the exact size you need right off the surface.
And pulling them fresh like that isn't only mechanically efficient. Keeping those onions naturally intact in the soil longer helps preserve highly interesting fibers and carbohydrates.
Oh, the ones linked to gut health.
Yes, the exact same compounds linked to the current fermented vegetable trend, things like sauerkraut and kimchi. But we will definitely have to save that specific nutritional deep dive for another day.
Absolutely. So what does this all mean for you? It's really a masterclass in working smarter alongside nature. Kesser and Steen figured out how to let the soil's own mechanics do the heavy lifting.
Saving their backs and generating a customized harvest all at once.
Which leaves you with a lingering question to think about. If skipping the most labor-intensive traditional rules of gardening actually produces superior ecological results, what other exhausting conventions in your own life are you blindly following that you could simply stop doing?